Okay, the live stream has been started. This hearing is being live streamed, and it will be posted on the Office of Tax Appeals YouTube channel. Once again, good morning and welcome to the Office of Tax Appeals. My name is Judge Teresa Stanley. This hearing is for the appeal of Cherewick. We do have a hearing reporter. Ms. Alonso is present and reporting the hearing verbatim. To ensure we have an accurate record, we're going to ask each person to speak one at a time. Don't answer a question until the question is complete, and speak clearly and loudly, and when needed, Ms. Alonso or any panel member might stop you to ensure we have a proper transcription. After the hearing, Ms. Alonso will produce the official hearing transcript, which will be available on the Office of Tax Appeals website. Okay, so Ms. Alonso, are you ready to go on the record?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go ahead and go on the record. As a reminder, okay, let me skip that for a second. We're going on the record in the appeal of Cherewick, Office of Tax Appeals, case number 2406-16402. The date is October 14th, 2025. The time is 9:34 a.m., and the hearing is being held in Cerritos, California. I'm Judge Teresa Stanley. I will be the lead for the purpose of conducting this hearing. My co-panelists, Hearing Officer Kim Wilson and Judge Shireen Reidenauer, and I are all equal participants in deliberating and determining the outcome of the appeal. I'm going to ask the parties to identify themselves and who they represent, starting with the appellant, please.
Good morning, Jason Goldstein of Buchalter on behalf of Appellant Randolph Cherewick. Randolph Cherewick is present to my left.
Morning, my name is Randolph Cherewick.
Okay, and CDTFA, please.
Good morning, Mari Guzman on behalf of the department.
Jarrett Noble, also on behalf of the department.
And Jason Parker with the department.
Okay, thank you. Just as a reminder, the Office of Tax Appeals is not a court. We're an independent appeals body that is staffed by its own subject matter experts. We are independent of any tax agency, including CDTFA. The issue to be decided in this appeal is whether appellant is personally liable for the unpaid sales tax liabilities of Global Entry Doors 32, LLC, for the period January 1st, 2019 through July 31st, 2019. Mr. Goldstein, do you agree that that's the issue today?
Agreed.
Okay, and Ms. Guzman, do you agree?
Yes, I do.
Okay, appellant submitted Exhibits 1 and 2. CDTFA did not object to the admissibility of the exhibits, and they are admitted into evidence. CDTFA submitted Exhibits A through E. Appellant did not object to the admissibility of those exhibits, and they are also admitted into evidence. Before we begin appellant's presentation, Mr. Goldstein, you indicated Mr. Cherewick would be testifying today?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, so Mr. Cherewick, can I ask you to raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Goldstein, you requested 60 minutes for appellant's presentation, including the witness testimony, and you can proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Judge. As this panel has noted, this is to determine whether or not Mr. Cherewick is personally liable. We believe after you consider the evidence that's been submitted in documentary form and through Mr. Cherewick's testimony, we'll find that he was not. The evidence will show that he was not a responsible person under the statute, nor did he do anything willfully to avoid the payment of taxes. Mr. Cherewick, what are the names of the persons who were involved in forming Global Entry Doors 32?
Myself, Michael Jenkins, and a gentleman named Richard Dang, who was not at the original formation, however, was added by Jenkins later on.
Did you ever meet Mr. Dang?
No, I did not.
Ever see Mr. Dang?
I don't recall seeing Mr. Dang. Don't know what he looks like.
When Global Entry Doors 32 was formed, was there an agreement reached between you and Michael Jenkins regarding how the LLC would be run?
Yes.
What was that agreement?
Since I didn't have any background and I wanted just to be a silent investor in this project, I put money up in return for Michael to supervise and manage Global Entry Doors to sell retail doors online through his idea of having online sales. That was the newest and best thing in California.
What agreement did you reach regarding who would handle the day-to-day operations of Global Entry Doors, including the payment of taxes and filing of tax returns?
Well, I just put up the money to supply the company with capital, and I lived in San Diego, and the office was in Orange County. So Mike Jenkins handled the supervision. He was the CEO. He opened the accounts, and I assisted him when he asked me for some assistance.
Based on your agreement with Mr. Jenkins, did you have control of filing tax returns and paying taxes for Global Entry Doors?
No, Michael Jenkins handled all the preparation of the tax returns. His brother was a CPA in Michigan, I believe, and he handled the tax returns for the Global Entry Doors.
Based on your agreement with Mr. Jenkins, did you supervise the filing of tax returns or paying taxes for Global Entry Doors?
I did not supervise nor pay the taxes for Global Entry Doors personally.
Based on your agreement with Mr. Jenkins, were you charged with filing tax returns or paying tax returns for Global Entry Doors?
No, I did not. I assisted him when he provided me information at the later date, at the end of the company winding down in late 2018, I believe, and I assisted him in filing the sales tax forms that he provided him information for.
Did you intentionally cause Global Entry Doors to not pay its taxes?
No, I did not.
Did you consciously cause Global Entry Doors to not pay its taxes?
No, I did not.
Did you personally engage in a voluntary course of action which resulted in Global Entry Doors not paying its taxes?
No, to the contrary, I actually tried to be proactive in making sure that Jenkins was providing me the information, or providing information that would pay for all of the sales taxes that were due.
Did you have any personal information regarding the actual sales of Global Entry Doors?
No. The information that when he eventually provided to me to file, I was in San Diego and he was in Orange County, and he would either tell me or email me what the information was, what the quarterly amounts that were due, what was taxable, and what amounts to put in for those filings. He was trying to wind the business down. There were a lot of warranty problems with some of the doors that he'd sold, so he asked me to assist him, which I did.
Did you have any personal knowledge of what actually was spent on doors as far as purchases and sales, other than what he told you?
No.
And by he, I'm referring to Mr. Jenkins.
Correct.
Understood that.
Yeah. No. He had all the records. He had all the sales orders. He employed the people. He paid for their employment and the insurance, et cetera, for the company.
Based on your agreement with Mr. Jenkins, did you have to obtain permission from him in order to cut a check from the Global Entry Doors bank account?
The way it was set up is he asked me if I could pay a bill. He would say, "This is approved. You can go ahead and pay that." So yes, I would need Jenkins. I did not just randomly pay whatever bills I thought were due.
Right.
He ran the company 100%.
If I can have you turn to what has been marked as Exhibit 2.2 in the hearing binder.
Okay.
And you see at the top, it's an email from Mike Jenkins to an Eric Bayoun, dated July 12, 2021.
Yes, I see that.
And there is looks like it's an asterisk or a bullet point, and the question is, when was Global Entry Doors 32 LLC officially closed? And the answer was, from Mr. Jenkins, Global Entry Doors, GED, stopped taking door orders on December 31st, 2018. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
What was your understanding of when Global Entry Doors stopped doing business?
At the end of 2018, Mike had talked about running his own company, that the Global Entry Doors operation that he had envisioned was not successful, and that he wanted to transition to his own company. I think it was called Renaissance Doors, that he was going to retain the premises, purchase the equipment, the forklifts, the existing door inventory from me, which he agreed to do so. I never paid for that, but I agreed to wind it down and for him to stop doing business at the end of 2018. That was our agreement.
If I can direct your attention to the last bullet point, do you see where there's the question written, who were the people that had access to the bank account for Global Entry Doors 32 LLC? Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
And it says Mike Jenkins, Randolph Cherewick, and Richard Dang. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Before reviewing this binder and seeing this email, did you have any idea that Richard Dang had access to the Global Entry Doors bank accounts?
I did not. I did not agree to allow Richard Dang to be added to GED Doors, since I had not met him and I did not know what his official duties were at the company.
So based on your review, this was a decision made by Mr. Jenkins while controlling Global Entry Doors?
It was his decision on his own.
If I could have you turn to what's been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 2.3 in the binder.
Yes.
Have you seen proposals that Global Entry Doors had generated while you were affiliated with the company?
I would stop in maybe once every 3 or 4 months to see Mike and kind of visit the premises and see the door. One time I brought my children up to see what this door company was all about. So from time to time you'd show me some of the sales orders. So this looks familiar. Yes.
Do you see about a quarter of the way down from the top, it says Designer Mike Jenkins?
Yes.
And below that, it's an email address for mike@globalentrydoors.com.
Yeah, that's Mike's email address.
Why is your name and email address not on this proposal?
Because I didn't handle the day-to-day operations or the sales of any of the products or the composition or the orders of the doors from China or any other manufacturer. Mike Jenkins handled everything. He supervised and took care of the business.
And that was page 1 of 2. And then if you turn to page 2 of 2, you also see it's Mike Jenkins' name on there and not yours.
Correct.
If I could have you turn to what's been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 2.4.
Okay.
Do you recognize this Exhibit 2.4 as being a computer printout relative to some information you had typed into a website for taxes?
Yes. It's for the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration. It's an online form that I filled in.
At whose direction did you type in this information?
Mike Jenkins said he was busy and that he asked me to assist if I could, wherever I could. So things that electronically I could do while I was in San Diego living there with my family, that I could assist him, that I would. I wanted to ensure that the taxes and that the company was wound down properly. I had some bad business dealings previously with a different company where taxes were promised to have been paid and they were not. And I had to intercede and try to help assist those companies pay those taxes.
And with your assistance, that was to assist Mr. Jenkins with his responsibility overseeing the taxes, preparation, filing, paying, et cetera.
Exactly.
If you look at the very bottom of page 1 of 3, do you see where it says LLC principles?
Yes.
And it appears below that there is a 1.
Okay. Yes.
If I can have you turn to page 2 of 3, at the very top, which appears to be part of the same box as on the earlier page, says Member Randolph Cherewick. Do you see that?
Yes.
Is that an accurate statement that you were the only member of Global Entry Doors?
No, that's not correct.
To your understanding, why is your name the only one listed as being a principal of Global Entry Doors on this particular form?
I don't recall, but if I supplied this information, I believe that that was a path to getting this form online done as efficient as I could. Whether or not I had an input to be able to put more than one principal, I don't recall.
If you go down about a little over half the way, there is a heading called Business Address. Do you see that?
Yes.
And there is a telephone number beginning with 714. Do you see that?
Yes.
And whose phone number was that?
That is Michael Jenkins' phone number.
And for below that, there's a heading Business Mailing Address, and it says Attention to Mike Jenkins.
Correct. Yes.
And was that input because Mr. Jenkins was the one with control of the day-to-day operations of Global Entry Doors?
Yes, that's why the business mailing address is attention to him.
If I can have you turn to page 3 of 3 of Exhibit 2.4, there is a heading towards the top, Contact Person, Books and Records, and it has your name below that. Do you see that?
Yes,
Do you recall why your name was input there?
because I was filling this form in to be able to assist Mike to getting the sales taxes paid.
In the next row below, do you see where it says Contact Person, Business Activities, and name Mike Jenkins?
Yes,
And why was Mike Jenkins listed as the contact person for business activities?
because Mike handled the business from order to manufacture to sales and preparation of the income for tax purposes, for the filings for federal and state taxes.
If I could have you turn to what's been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 2.5.
Okay.
Yes, stay at the first page, Mr. Cherewick.
Yes.
In the, I'd say call it the top right-hand corner, there is a line where it says Customer Information, Global Entry Doors LLC. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Then it says Preparer Information, are you a paid preparer or no? And then your name is identified there.
Yes.
Why is your name listed as a preparer?
I probably input this information into this form electronically, and since I'm the one that preparing these numbers, putting these numbers into the system, my name shows there, not Mike's.
Could you please describe for the panel the process of how you obtain the numbers that you punched in to the website?
So Mike would send me an email or verbally tell me over the phone, this is our gross sales numbers. This is what we're, the sales tax amount that's due on some of those sales, because some of them were exempt from sales tax in California, and this is what's left. Get that done for me and find out what the sales tax amount that's due, because it's a rather complicated process with the online sales tax formula.
Would it be fair to say that at Mr. Jenkins' direction, he provided you with numbers and you input those numbers directly into the machine?
That's what I just said, that he would provide me the gross sales, what amounts were taxable, and I input them into the system. Sometimes I'd have to call the sales tax for additional advice, since it was rather complicated to figure out how to put the numbers in properly.
If I could have you turn to page 3 of 8, still in Exhibit 2.5.
Okay, I'm there.
There is a line about a quarter of the way down. It says your information.
Mm-hmm.
And then below that, it says Randolph Cherewick, President of Manager.
Yes.
Do you know why it says President of Manager?
I'm president of Lakewood Construction, and as the manager of Lakewood Construction, I put my name that way.
If I could have you turn to what's been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 2.6.
Okay.
my glasses because it's a little small. Before we jump into this, was there a time that you requested Mr. Jenkins to remove you and Lakewood Construction as having any relation or ownership interest in Global Entry Doors?
Yes, in the summer of 2018, I think it was, he told me that he wanted to wind down the company and that it was no longer going to be a profitable operation, that he wanted to go on his own, he wanted to buy out my interest, and that he wanted to retain premises. So about mid-2018, he said, I'm going to file, since he did all the original filings for Global Entry Doors. I believe he used a Zoom info or something like that to file, and that he would remove me and provide proof of that removal.
And when you're saying filings and removal, are you referring to what's reflected on the California Secretary of State website?
Yes, that would be filed by this third-party Zoom that he would direct to have that done.
And at or about that time, did you later discover that Mr. Jenkins had caused to be filed a document that falsely reflected that the information in the original statement of information had not changed?
Yes, I was surprised to see that.
And we'll go through it later, but you did not authorize Mr. Jenkins to use your signature on a document to be filed with the Secretary of State which reflected that nothing had changed in the ownership of Global Entry Doors as of July of 2018.
No, that's contrary to what he and I agreed to, and in fact, he never did prove good on his promise to pay my 50% of, at the time, what we agreed to would be for the materials, the doors that were left, the inventory that was remaining at Global Entry Doors.
Fair to say he stiffed you on the amounts he owed you and then lied with the Secretary of State?
That's correct.
On Exhibit 2.6, page 1 of 3, about a quarter of the way down, there's an entry dated February 21, 25, it looks like. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns down from the top.
Okay, yes.
It says, Michael did confirm that Richard Dang provided him the information. States Richard Dang works full-time under him and handles the accounting for his current business. Michael stating Randolph Cherewick was the person in charge of filing the sales tax returns for the company. States Randolph was the majority stock owner and he was the minority stock owner. Is the statement that you were in charge of filing the state tax returns true or false?
False.
Going down, I believe it's a March 18th, 21 entry. It's column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I see it.
Okay. There's an entry that says, in pertinent part, Randolph stated that he left the LLC about 2.5 years ago. Do you see that?
Yes.
Is that a true or false statement?
The timeline, March 21. That's approximately correct, yes.
And then going down a little farther in that same entry, it states, Randolph was an investor of the business, and after Michael was incurring debts for different things, that is when he decided to part ways. Randolph stated Michael and him had equal access to the bank. Do you see that?
I do.
Are those statements true or false?
I was an investor in the business, that's true. And Michael told me that he was incurring debts for GED, and he's starting his own company, and so that's true as well. And that's when I asked him, I'd like to, at least if you're going to continue on with GED, I don't want to be part of it, He said, I'm not going to. I'm going to start my own company on my own and keep the same premises, keep the same equipment, keep the same employees.
If I could have you turn to page 2 of 3 of Exhibit 2.6. It's the third column down. There is a statement in here which reads, Mike stating Randolph was in charge of doing payroll, filing, and paying state taxes. Do you see that?
Yes,
Is that statement true or false?
that's absolutely false. Nothing to do with payroll. Didn't even know what people were on there. He asked me one time to do the 1099s. He sent me their information. I provided the 1099s after he directed me to provide them because he was too busy or he couldn't find somebody to do it.
If you can go down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 columns down as the 29-September 21.
Okay, I see it.
Okay. And there's part of the entry. I asked who had the authority to make decisions on paying sales taxes, and Randolph stated, quote, 100% Mike Jenkins, end quote. Is that statement true or false?
Yes, that's why I told Eric, Mr. Byan, who made this entry.
If I could have you turn to page 3 of 3 of Exhibit 2.6. In the last row on the bottom, a 18-March 2022 entry, towards another about a quarter of the way in that entry, it reads, he states he had no experience in the door sale business. He had no input on the operation, but only assisted as a passive investor. Is that statement true or false?
That's true.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? You mentioned Eric, and then I think you said a last name, but I didn't catch that, so I'm pretty sure our
On the
stenographer
entry,
didn't either.
in the entry, it says E. Byan. I believe that's how you pronounce his name, Eric Byan.
I believe it's spelled
B-U-Y-N.
B-Y-U-N.
Yes.
Eric, B-Y-U-N.
Thank you.
And then a little further in that section, it reads, in 2019, he could not file any of the sales tax returns because Mike Jenkins had all of the records and would not provide him, paren, Mr. Cherewick, end paren, the records for him to file the tax returns. Is that statement true or false?
That's true. After we wound down the business, he did ask me to assist, which I did. And then later on, I found out that he had not paid all the sales taxes, and that he was attempting to say that I was owed to pay them. I was required to pay them.
As of this time, was it your understanding that Mike Jenkins had failed to comply with his agreement with you at the formation of Global Entry Doors to handle the day-to-day operations of the business, including filing and paying sales tax?
Yes.
If I could have you turn to Exhibit 2.7.
Okay.
Do you recognize this lease document?
Yes, I do.
And this was a lease. Was this a lease for Global Entry Doors?
It was for the warehouse, the building that Mike used.
If I could direct you to page 16 of 23, please.
Okay, I'm there.
On the right-hand side, under the heading lessee, do you see where it says Michael Jenkins, President, and there's a DocuSign?
Yes.
And below that is a DocuSign for Randolph Cherewick, and it says President of Managing Member, Lakewood Construction.
Yes.
Please explain why you signed this lease in addition with Mr. Jenkins.
So the landlord required anybody that was a part owner of Global Entry Doors sign regardless of their activities in the company.
If I could have you direct you to staying on Exhibit 2.7 and go to page 21 of 23. Do you recognize this guarantee of lease? Do you see it at the top where it says guarantee of lease?
Yes, I do. I see the, I'm at 21 of 23.
Yes.
Okay.
And did the landlord require a guarantor with respect to the lease to Global Entry Doors?
They did. I believe they required one of us to sign a guarantee.
If I can have you turn to page 22 of 23, do you see where under guarantors, Michael Jenkins signed, but you did not?
Yes, I do.
Why did only Michael Jenkins guarantee this lease and not you yourself?
I believe the landlord was actually next door. Their offices were next door, and my understanding is that whatever deal he struck with them is that they required his guarantee and not mine.
As a passive investor, were you ever going to guarantee a lease for Global Entry Doors?
I had no intention of doing that. It would have caused us to go back and renegotiate what our original agreement was about.
If I could have you turn to Exhibit 2.8 and commence with page 204.
2.8.
Yes, you're on the correct page, Mr. Cherewick.
Okay, 2 or 3. Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple different things, but I'll direct your attention more to these
Thank you.
bottom ones.
Yeah, thank you.
So, do you see that pages 204, 304, and 404 are partner share of income deductions, credits, etc., the first being to Michael Jenkins, the second to references Randolph Cherewick, and the third references Lakewood Construction?
Yes, I do.
Who prepared these?
I believe Michael Jenkins and his brother, who was a CPA in Michigan.
Is Lakewood Construction an entity of yours?
It is.
On these documents we just looked at, it indicates a 49% ownership interest in Mr. Jenkins, a 49% ownership interest in you, and a 2% interest in Lakewood Construction. Do you see that?
I do.
Why did Lakewood Construction have a 2% interest in your passive investor business with Mr. Jenkins?
When Michael Jenkins and I agreed to form this company, I told him I had some bad passive investment in a previous company, and he said, to avoid that, let's give you a majority, be able to leave the company when you want to and not be stuck with another situation that would have been similar to the previous problems that I had in another company that I was an investor in.
So is your understanding and agreement with Mr. Jenkins that if you had a combined 51%, 49 individual, one in the Lakewood Construction, you could then vote yourself out, so to speak, in the relationship?
Exactly, and I have the power to say we need to close this now.
And to your understanding, that was done sometime in 2018, but Mr. Jenkins' statements to you were false and that he did not follow through and left your name on documents.
Correct. When we agreed to close the business, he would get everything wrapped up before the end of 2018.
If I could have you turn to what's been admitted into evidence as Exhibit 2.9, page 1 of 2.
Okay.
Do you recognize this as the original statement of information for Global Entry Doors?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And if you go down to row number 9 and 10, does this correctly identify at that time that you and Mr. Jenkins were the members of Global Entry Doors?
Yes, it does.
If I can have you please turn to page 2 of 2.
Okay.
Earlier, do you recall testifying that you had, and mid-2018 instructed Mr. Jenkins to remove you as part of the company for Global Entry Doors.
Yes, that's correct.
This page 2 of 2, which has a filing date of July 18th, 2018, contains I won't call it a signature, but a typed name of you as president of managing member of Lakewood Construction. Do you see that?
Yes,
Was this filed without your knowledge or consent?
correct.
Was the filing of this document contrary to your instructions to Mr. Jenkins?
What is contrary to what our agreement was and what Michael should have done, which is to remove me, not include me.
If I can direct your attention to Exhibit 2.10, 2.10.
Okay.
About a quarter way down, it reflects an email from you to Mr. Jenkins dated January 27th, 2019. Do you see that?
I do.
Why were you communicating with Mr. Jenkins regarding Global Entry Doors in early 2019?
Mike said that even though he was closing the business out by the end of 2018, that we'd still have some warranty. We saw some door orders that had to be fulfilled, and also some payments to be made. One of which you can see in this email, there were sales taxes still due that Mike had identified that we needed to remit, and I wanted to make sure that all these suppliers and other people that were owed money or companies, that they were paid in full, even after the date of dissolution of the company.
Well, it was Mr. Jenkins' responsibility to do these things. Why were you assisting at this time?
I did not want to have a repeat of people coming after me for Mr. Jenkins' negligence or lack of just shutting down the company and declaring some type of bankruptcy or something.
Have you ever heard the expression, anyone can sue anyone at any time?
Yes?
Was that a concern that you had with Mr. Jenkins not having removed you from the company and not paying the bills on time as he was required to do?
Yes, that's correct.
And you just wanted to avoid that type of situation yourself?
Absolutely, yes.
If I can have you turn to Exhibit 2.11. Is this another example of you're trying to assist to make sure that you don't get stuck with something that Michael Jenkins caused?
Yeah, and this is in June of 2019. Well after he said we were going to be wrapping this up. He said there were warranty repairs that had to be done, that he couldn't avoid those, and that this would continue on for some time.
Just briefly, what was the warranty repair issue that you're referring to?
He told me that some of the doors he had purchased turned out to be defective, and he had a list of 100 or 200 doors that had to be replaced, and that the supplier in China was replacing the doors at no expense, and that he would get those doors replaced under warranty.
If I can have you turn to Exhibit 2.12. Is this another example of your assisting Mr. Jenkins with his obligations for Global Entry Doors?
Yes, I'm ensuring that the sales tax payment is going to be paid to the state of California.
If I can have you turn to Exhibit 2.13.
Okay.
So you're not on this one, so we can skip that. If I can have you turn to Exhibit 2.14.
Okay.
Exhibit 2.14 is a compilation of checks. You looked at these before today's hearing?
I have. I reviewed them this morning.
Okay. The page 105, is that your signature on that check?
Yes, it is.
And this check's dated December 31st, 2018?
That's correct.
Why is your signature on this check?
Mike had asked me to take care of some of the bill payments that he authorized, and that I could do that since I was a signer in the account. So I did this remotely at my home in San Diego.
What did Mr. Jenkins inform you about his schedule of dealing with Global Entry Doors business that resulted in him asking you to assist him with these tasks we were going over today?
It was taking longer than he expected, that the warranty repairs were far in excess of what he estimated in mid-2018, that he was going to continue to wind down the business as quickly as he could and ensure that the rent was paid in this example.
If I can have you turn to page 2 of 5.
Yes,
Is that your signature on this check?
it is.
And did you execute this check for similar reasons that you just discussed?
Yes, same.
If I can have you turn to page 3 of 5. Is that your signature on this check?
It is not.
If I can have you turn to page 4 of 5. Is that your signature on this check?
It is not.
If I can have you turn to page 5 of 5. Is that your signature on this check?
It is not.
If I can have you turn to exhibit 2.15.
Okay?
I do see at the top, there's a date, June 30th, 2019, and then below that references Global Entry Doors 32.
Yes.
And then towards the bottom, highlighted in yellow, it says owner name Mike Jenkins.
Yes, I see that.
As of that date, was it your understanding that Michael Jenkins was the sole owner of Global Entry Doors?
Yes.
If I can have you turn to page 2 of 2. There states at the top, filing period, December 31st, 2019, and references Global Entry Doors. Do you see that?
Yes.
At the bottom, highlighted in yellow, it says owner name Mike Jenkins. Do you see it?
Yes, I do.
Was it your understanding as of this date that Mike Jenkins was the sole owner of Global Entry Doors?
Yes.
If I could have you turn to exhibit 2.16.
Okay.
Do you see at the top where it says filing period December 31st, 2019?
I do.
And then a little farther down, it says payee name Global Entry Doors. Do you see that?
I do.
Then it says payer name First Data Reporting Services LLC. Do you see that?
I do.
Do you know what First Data Reporting Services is?
I do not. I've never seen that name before.
If I could have you turn to exhibit 2.19.
Okay.
And I'm cognizant, I think my 60 minutes is about 15 minutes from being done, so I will complete timely. Appreciate all your patience. Do you recognize exhibit 2.19 as being a responsible person questionnaire that you filled out?
Yes, I fill this out.
And in paragraph 1, was sales tax reimbursement, sales tax collected from customers? Answer, I don't know. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Is that was a true answer then and now?
Yes.
Then you check the box other, where it says please explain, and you wrote, Mr. Jenkins handled all of the sales orders and sales tax collection. Do you see that?
That's true. Yes, I do.
Question 2, did the business use tangible personal property and fail to pay the use tax? Answer, I don't know. Do you see that?
Yes.
Is that a true answer then and now?
Yes, it is.
Question 3, are there any known business assets available to satisfy any tax debt, such as bank accounts, vehicles, etc.? Answer, I don't know. Was that a true statement then and now?
Yes.
Question 4, how were you associated with the business? Answer, member. Was that a true statement then and now?
Yes.
Then it states, please provide your job title, the dates of your employment or association, and a brief statement of your duties and responsibilities. And you wrote, I assisted Mr. Jenkins with vendors' accounts. Actually, can you read that yourself?
Yes,
I can't
vendors'
read that.
accounts and sales tax remittances.
And were those all done at the direction of Mr. Jenkins?
Yes, because I wouldn't have had any of the records for that.
Question 5, were you paid for your services? Checkbox, no. Is that a true statement then and now?
That's true.
Question 6, if known, provide the name, title, address, and telephone number of any person who had any responsibility for the business, sales, and use tax compliance during the time you were working for or associated with the business, and you identified Mike Jenkins. Do you see that?
I do.
Was that true then and now?
Yes.
And you did not put your own name there because you weren't responsible for that, correct?
Correct.
Question 8, if known, provide the names, title, addresses, and telephone number of any person that prepares or possesses tax returns, sales records, invoices, journals, or other financial records of the business. And you input Mike Jenkins. Do you see that?
I do.
Was that a true statement then and now?
It is.
Right.
It was.
Does Mr. Jenkins possess, or at the time, the pertinent time frame, 2019, were those records solely in the possession of Mr. Jenkins?
Yeah, they were at the Orange County offices of Global Entry Doors.
If I could have you turn to Exhibit 2.20.
Okay.
Is this another email relative to your efforts to assist Mr. Jenkins with his responsibilities to pay taxes and get the business debts done so you can leave untarnished?
Yes, correct. These are in March of 2019.
If I could have you turn to Exhibit 2.21, is this email of the same type?
Yes, correct.
If I could have you turn to Exhibit 2.22, 2.22,
Okay, I'm there.
is this another email relative to your assisting Mr. Jenkins with his responsibilities with the company at his request?
Yes, I'm ensuring that he's paying the rent on time.
If I could have you turn to Exhibit 2.23,
Okay.
is this another similar email?
Yes, it's for payments to vendors and suppliers that need to be reimbursed.
If I can have you turn to Exhibit 2.24,
Okay. Yes,
is this another similar email?
it is.
If I can have you turn to Exhibit 2.25, about a quarter of the way down, there's a September 4th, 2019 email that's highlighted, and it states, highlighted portion states, please ensure you fund GED 32 Chase bank account so I don't have an issue with the courts. What did you mean when you wrote that sentence?
I wanted to ensure that Mike Jenkins had fulfilled his duty to complete paying the vendors and suppliers and any taxes that were due. And I didn't want to have any problem with a reminder of what it was in my previous business venture where I was a passive investor and taxes were not paid.
And below that, it states, also, is your brother completing the GED 32 tax return? Do you see that?
Yes,
Is that statement consistent with your understanding that it was Mr. Jenkins who was responsible for paying and filing taxes?
that's correct. His brother filed taxes each year.
You can turn to Exhibit 2.26. Is this another similar email where you're trying to get this closed out and have Mr. Jenkins satisfy his obligations?
This is an email from Mike to me telling me how he's handling, taking care of, winding down of Global Entry Doors.
We can go to Exhibit 2.27, and then I only have one more exhibit, and then that will conclude my portion, subject to the other time allowed. Is Exhibit 2.27 a similar email?
It is.
And in particular, you wrote in the bottom email, when can we make the sales tax payment that is way past due to the state of California?
That's correct. I was concerned that Mike wasn't making timely payments and that he was winding down the business and using resources for his own company in the same premises.
Okay, if I could have you turn to Exhibit C. This side.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, Exhibit C is a document that you personally filled out and submitted with respect to this matter.
Okay. I recognize it, yes?
Right, and you disclosed to the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration that from the very beginning that it was Michael Jenkins that was the responsible party.
Correct.
I have no further questions at this time.
Okay, thank you. You do have a little bit of time left because we don't count the time I was talking in your total minutes. So if you have a concluding statement to make, you can go ahead and do that.
If I could reserve in case the,
Sure.
counsel.
I was going to give you time after their presentation
Okay,
anyway.
I'll
But
do-
let me just,
sure, I can give a short concluding remark then if I still get one more. And this will
Okay.
be brief, and I appreciate it, Judge Stanley.
Okay.
Mr. Cherewick was a passive investor. He was not involved in the personal selling of doors, collection of money, or sales tax. What he did was he unfortunately was involved with someone who was not doing the right thing, did not take him out of the company as requested, and then when Mr. Cherewick discovered later on this hadn't been done and there were these issues, did the right thing to try and help Mr. Jenkins comply with his obligations. I proffer that this means, based on the statute, he is not the responsible person. He definitely did not willfully fail to comply, though he did not have the personal obligation to. But he had the good citizenship to want to make sure these things were done, put in all this time for free to try and avoid a situation like this. And we will request that this panel find that he is not a responsible party, and we encourage you to go find Mr. Jenkins, who is. And thank you.
thank you. Ms. Guzman, do you have any questions for Mr. Cherewick?
We do not have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, Hearing Officer Wilson, do you have any questions?
I do. Mr. Cherewick, you said on Exhibit 2.9, the Secretary of State form.
Okay. Let me get to it. Okay, yes, I'm there.
On this form, you said that you didn't authorize Mr. Jenkins to fill this out for you with your name. Is that correct?
On page 2 of 2.
2 of 2.
Yes.
Yes, 2 of 2. That's correct.
Okay, and then on Exhibit 210,
Okay, I'm there.
that one, it's dated January of 19,
Yes.
and in the email you say that things are picking up with the GED sales. Were you under the impression that there were continuing sales?
Mike had told me that he was continuing to fix some of the warranty repairs and that in doing so, he was getting them to change and maybe upgrade or do other things that would provide additional income. And he had some existing inventory from GED that he had purchased from me but not reimbursed me for, that he was going to utilize to try to boost revenues to be able to pay these debts, which I identified to him in this email.
Okay, so you were aware that he was continuing sales with GED then?
He told me past the 18 that the current inventory would take, there was a time lag from getting the doors ordered, getting the doors to be warranted and repaired, and finished up. So that's why it went through, I think, till mid-2019, actually, or even past the summer of 2019, 6 months later.
Are you aware of how the sales were reported on the returns?
No, I was not. This gentleman, Richard Dang, who I had never met or heard of, and my understanding is he's handling the office, the bookkeeping at the office itself, under Mike's direction.
On the sales tax returns you did file? Are you,
On all the data was being provided by Dang and by Jenkins to me.
so you were not aware of how the numbers
No.
were
Sorry.
placed on the return?
No, I did not.
Okay. That was my question. Thank you.
Judge Ridenour, do you have any questions for Mr. Cherewick?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Mr. Cherewick, I want to talk about Lakewood Construction a bit. During the liability period, you were the president, correct?
Yes.
And was Mr. Jenkins any part of Lakewood Construction?
No.
Okay. And that you indicate Lakewood Construction was quote-unquote the managing partner of the LLC GED, is that correct?
Not the managing partner in the sense that Mike ran the company.
No, I'm asking about you. You signed,
Oh,
I
yes,
believe,
yes, of Lakewood Construction.
correct,
yes.
but you managing partner / Lakewood Construction on that exhibit 2.7, I believe. So I'm
Yes.
trying to understand.
Yeah, I'm the president and manager of Lakewood Construction.
Okay. And so then, but you signed it president of managing member Lakewood Construction. Of 2.7, page 16, therefore giving the impression that you consider Lakewood Construction managing partner.
Exhibit 2.7?
2.7, page 16.
16. This is the lease.
Correct.
Okay, this is the lease. Okay.
With the signature block.
Okay, yes.
So president of managing member, comma, Lakewood Construction. So are you saying that Lakewood Construction was a managing member? And you were president of that managing member?
Yes.
Okay, so managing member of GED.
I believe that I was managing member of the Lakewood Construction
Okay.
that
All
they requested my specific information just for the lease.
Okay. All right, then I will move on. You had 49% personal and 2% via Lakewood Construction, correct?
Yes.
And you stated earlier that Mr. Jenkins was not part of Lakewood Construction, correct?
Correct.
So in a way, you were the majority holder of GED.
Yes.
Okay. And you testified earlier that you did that so you could quote unquote leave when you want to. Is that correct?
In part, yes.
Okay. That is what you testified to, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So then you also said, I believe, or you confirmed after your attorney asked if you could vote yourself out and had the power to close out. Therefore, you had the majority to allow you that based on your past experiences with previous businesses. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then you say that, but then you go on in the very passive of Mr. Jacobs did not file. He did not do XYZ. He filed docs, Secretary of State docs without your knowledge. To which then I'm having a little bit concern and understanding. If you were the majority holder, what activities did you actively do to remove yourself from this? And also, Secretary of State documents are available in the public.
Mm-hmm.
So again, what did you actively do to remove yourself as the majority holder? You did not need permission. You made sure you were the majority so you could leave when you wanted to. So please explain to me what you actively did to ensure that you were no longer affiliated with GED.
So at the time when Mike and I agreed to wind the business down, we were amicable. There's some information in these documents where it shows that he and I were still sharing hockey tickets, for example, and that our families were still amicable, and that I trusted him to wind down the business. I'd been in business with him for a couple of years. I'd received most of my investment back from Mr. Jenkins, if not all of it, and that I was ensuring that he was just going to wind down the business properly. So I trusted him to complete the documents. I did not believe that he would do me any wrong, and that I had nothing to believe that he wouldn't just dissolve it. He'd originally filed with Zoom Info or whatever that company is to set up the LLC. He said, I'm going to do the same and to wind it down since I have the access online to do so, or the people, he had authorization to do so. So instead of interceding myself, I trusted Mr. Jenkins to do so.
Okay, so that was your choice.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions for the moment. Thank you.
Okay, and I just have a couple of follow-up questions. I didn't see anywhere in the emails between you of any agreement to close the business. Do you have any communications that you could show us that express that you were waiting for him to tie things up and close the business?
He and I verbally, since we're still friends, and we verbally agreed for $60,000 that he would buy the remaining inventory, the forklift, et cetera. I don't know if we ever wrote that down in a document and both signed it. I don't believe so. I know we talked about it, and I don't recall an email per se going back and forth about this, but I went and visited him personally to be able to see what was left, what was inventory, and agreed to wind the business down and come to a number that would buy me out and that he would wind down the company properly.
Okay, and we don't have a copy of the LLC agreement in our documentation. Who would be listed in that agreement as the managing member or members of the LLC?
I believe that it originally was set up by Mike Jenkins with both of our names, myself and him.
Okay. And on Exhibit 2.10,
Yes.
how were you coming to know about the debts if you weren't involved with the business at that point? How did you know exactly what was owed for water and to CDTFA? That whole list of debts that you gave to him. How did you come to know about those?
So on a regular basis, Mike would inform me as to what our balance sheet was, meaning our debts, our revenues, what was owed to certain vendors, and that if I could assist in doing so, some of these, for example, I would pay directly out of my own accounts or my GED account. I had my own credit card for GED that I set up at the outset, and I would ask for reimbursement. So this is a documentation of reimbursement from GED for payments that I made directly on Mike's behalf to keep the company running.
So if you say you were using your credit card to pay them, did you pay the $17,000 due to CDTFA?
Yes.
Okay, so at that point you did use the company credit card to pay for that, and you were just asking for reimbursement?
Reimbursement, that's correct.
Okay. With that clarification, I don't have any further questions. So, Ms. Guzman, you requested 20 minutes for your presentation, and you can proceed when ready.
Thank you. Good morning. At issue in this case is whether appellant Randolph Cherewick is personally liable for the unpaid sales tax liabilities of Global Entry Doors 32 LLC, which we will refer to as GED from here on out, for the period January 1, 2019 through July 31st, 2019, the liability period, pursuant to Revenue and Taxation Code Section 6829, which we will refer to as Section 6829 from here on out. GED, a small, closely held limited liability company with only 2 active members during the liability period, operated as a retailer of prefabricated and custom entry doors from its business location in Santa Ana, California. GED's unpaid sales tax liabilities stem from department-assessed tax liabilities for the first quarter and second quarter of 2019, and a self-assessed tax liability for the period July 1st, 2019 through July 31st, 2019. On June 30th, 2022, the department issued a notice of dual determination to appellant, Exhibit B, for GED's unpaid sales and use tax liabilities, plus interest and penalties pursuant to Section 6829. Section 6829 and Regulation 1702.5 provide that a person is personally liable for the tax, penalties, and interest owed to a business entity if the following four elements are met. 1, the business of the entity has been terminated, dissolved, or abandoned. 2, sales tax reimbursement was collected on its sales of tangible personal property and it failed to remit the tax to the department. 3, the person had control or supervision of or was charged with the responsibility for the filing of returns or the payment of tax, or was under a duty to act for the corporation to comply with the sales and use tax law. And lastly, the person willfully failed to pay taxes due or willfully failed to cause such taxes to be paid. The department is required to prove these four elements of Section 6829 by a preponderance of the evidence. With respect to the first element, termination, appellant has conceded that the business closed and ceased operations. In an email dated July 12, 2021, Mr. Jenkins emailed the department to clarify that GED ceased its operations at the end of July 2019, Exhibit A, page 18. Therefore, the department closed GED's seller's permit with an effective date of July 31st, 2019. Thus, the first element is satisfied. With respect to the second element, collection of sales tax reimbursement, the evidence shows from the department's examination of GED's sales invoices, Exhibit A, pages 19 and 20, that it was GED's normal business practice to collect sales tax reimbursement on its sales of tangible personal property. Based on this evidence, the second element is also satisfied. With respect to the third element, responsible person, appellant was a member of GED during the liability period. According to GED's income tax return for 2017, Exhibit A, pages 58 to 60, appellant owned 49% of the membership interest in GED. Furthermore, as seen in Exhibit A, pages 21 to 23, appellant was identified as a member of GED on its seller's permit application filed by appellant on March 9, 2018. Appellant was also named as GED's manager and member on GED's Statement of Information filed by appellant with the California Secretary of State on March 11, 2016, and on July 18, 2018. Exhibit A, pages 61 and 62. As also seen in a responsible person questionnaire dated March 24, 2021, Exhibit A, page 82, appellant identified himself as a member of GED. Additionally, appellant was the president of GED's managing member, Lakewood Construction, Inc., and in that capacity, appellant signed GED's lease agreement for its business premises, Exhibit A, pages 35 to 57. The evidence also shows that appellant demonstrated that he had control of or responsibility for GED's sales and use tax matters during the liability period. For example, in an email dated March 19, 2019, Exhibit A, page 20, appellant instructs Mr. Jenkins to insert $5,000 for the amended sales tax return that is due ASAP. In another email to Mr. Jenkins dated June 11, 2019, Exhibit A, page 64, which was prompted by an account notification sent to GED by the department, appellant instructs Mr. Jenkins to prepare the tax amount due for the last quarter and send it to me by email ASAP. In an email on June 12, 2019, also Exhibit A, page 64, Mr. Jenkins responds with, "Are you talking about first quarter? If so, you have it because I sent it to you in April. Did you not file it?" Then on July 8th, 2019, as seen in Exhibit A, page 65, appellant emailed Mr. Jenkins asking, "When can we make the sales tax payment that is way past due to the state of California?" These emails, all sent during the liability period, clearly show that a parent was personally involved in GED's sales and use tax matters. Lastly, appellant filed GED's sales and use tax returns for the quarters immediately preceding the liability, including second quarter through fourth quarter of 2018. Exhibit A, pages 24 to 31. And there is no evidence to suggest that appellant subsequently relinquished a role or any authority with respect to GED's sales and use tax matters. Taken together, the foregoing evidence clearly shows that appellant was a person responsible for GED's sales and use tax matters throughout the liability period at issue. Therefore, the third element is also satisfied. The final element we will discuss is willfulness. Willfully fails to pay or to cause to be paid means that the failure was the result of an intentional, conscious, and voluntary course of action. This failure may be willful even if it was not done with a bad purpose or motive. In order to show willfulness, the department must establish all of the following. First, that on or about the taxes became due, the responsible person had actual knowledge that the taxes were due but not being paid. Next, the responsible person had the authority to pay the taxes or to cause them to be paid, one, on the date the taxes became due, and two, when the responsible person had actual knowledge. And lastly, when the responsible person had actual knowledge, the responsible person had the ability to pay the taxes but chose not to do so. In this case, the evidence shows appellant willfully failed to pay or direct payment of the taxes at issue. As previously mentioned, appellant filed GED sales and use tax returns for the second quarter through the fourth quarter of 2018. By virtue of these filings, appellant knew that GED had an ongoing responsibility to file its quarterly returns and failed to do so for the periods at issue. Furthermore, appellant had direct communications with its other member, Mr. Jenkins, during the periods at issue. For example, and as previously noted, by email dated March 18th, 2019, Exhibit A, page 83, appellant instructed Mr. Jenkins to insert $5,000 for the amended sales tax return that is due ASAP. Appellant also continued to be involved in GED sales and use tax matters during the second quarter of 2019 by continuing to communicate with Mr. Jenkins regarding GED sales and use tax matters. For example, appellant emailed Mr. Jenkins on June 11th, 2019, Exhibit A, page 64, wherein he referenced GED's sales tax liabilities and stated, "This is unavoidable. Prepare the tax amount due for the last quarter and send it to me ASAP." Appellant again further communicated with Mr. Jenkins by email dated July 8th, 2019, Exhibit A, page 65, wherein appellant asked when the sales tax payments could be paid to California. Appellant's filing of GED sales and use tax returns for the quarters immediately preceding the liability period at issue, as well as his constant communications during the periods where GED failed to file its sales and use tax returns, clearly established that he knew of GED's unpaid tax liabilities. Therefore, the first requirement of willfulness has been met. With respect to the second requirement of willfulness, authority, as already discussed, Appellant filed GED sales and use tax returns in the quarters immediately preceding the liability period, second quarter through fourth quarter of 2018, Exhibit A, at pages 24 to 31. Furthermore, appellant signed company checks, Exhibit A, pages 67 to 69, in payment of GED's rent during the liability period. Appellant also stated that he would pay GED's expenses as evidenced by email communications between February 17, 2019 and March 19, 2019, Exhibit A, pages 92 to 93. Additionally, appellant was the president of GED's managing member, Lakewood Construction, Inc., see Exhibit A, pages 35 to 57, and it is reasonable to conclude that GED's managing member had authority over GED's financial matters. Furthermore, Mr. Jenkins indicated in an email to the department dated July 12, 2021, Exhibit A, page 18, that appellant had access to GED's bank account. To substantiate this, as seen in Exhibit A, page 32, an account note entered in the department's records dated April 6, 2021, appellant informed the department that he would contact Chase Bank to obtain GED's bank statements for the department to review, showing that appellant had the authority to obtain GED's banking information. Taken together, all of this evidence shows that appellant had authority to pay GED's tax liabilities, or to cause them to be paid when the taxes became due and payable. Therefore, the second requirement of willfulness has been met. With respect to the third element of willfulness, ability to pay, GED had sufficient funds available during the liability period, as evidenced by GED's Form 1099-K, showing that GED received payments from First Data Reporting Services, Exhibit A, page 74, and the amount of $208,000 during first quarter 2019, $122,000 during second quarter 2019, and $6,600 during July 2019. Furthermore, according to GED's bank statements, Exhibit A, page 75 to 79, deposits were made into GED's account totaling approximately $235,000 during the liability period. Additionally, as already discussed, GED collected sales tax reimbursement, but failed to remit it to the department. Furthermore, GED paid wages to its employees totaling approximately $95,000 during the liability period. Exhibit A, pages 72 to 73. And as already discussed, appellant wrote checks, Exhibit A, page 67 and 68, in payment of GED's rent during the liability period. GED's payment of employee wages and other expenses represented a choice by GED to use its available funds to pay these obligations instead of its outstanding tax liabilities. Thus, the evidence shows that on the dates appellant had the requisite knowledge and authority, GED had funds available such that appellant had the ability to pay the taxes at issue, but chose not to do so. Therefore, the final requirement of willfulness has been met. While appellant asserts that Mr. Jenkins managed and directed all business operations for GED and that he was only a passive investor in the business, the internal correspondence between appellant and Mr. Jenkins shows that appellant was involved in important aspects of the business. For instance, in a March 9, 2019 email to Mr. Jenkins, Exhibit A, page 84, appellant stated that he got up early to get the GED accounting done for 1099 completion. Also on March 9, 2019, as seen in Exhibit A, page 85, appellant emailed Mr. Jenkins to request credit card statement copies to complete the accounting. Then on March 11, 2019, appellant emailed Mr. Jenkins to ask if GED's rent had been paid on time. Exhibit A, page 86. On March 18th, 2019, in another email to Mr. Jenkins, Exhibit A, page 87, appellant listed GED's expenses and requested that Mr. Jenkins include the expenses in his cash flow. And while appellant attempts to characterize his involvement in GED's sales and use tax matters as merely assisting Mr. Jenkins, in addition to all of the evidence already discussed relating to GED's sales and use tax matters showing that appellant was a responsible person for GED, there is no evidence to suggest that appellant operated under the direction of Mr. Jenkins or required his approval for such matters. Furthermore, responsible person liability is not limited to an individual who is the most responsible person, but rather is properly imposed on any responsible person who otherwise meets the requirements of Section 6829. Lastly, appellant contends that he did not participate in the daily operations of the business. However, Section 6829 does not require that appellant be physically at the business operating on a daily basis to be a responsible person. Based on the law and evidence provided, appellant is personally liable for GED's unpaid sales tax liability. Therefore, we ask that you deny appellant's appeal. Thank you.
Thank you. Hearing Officer Wilson, do you have any questions for the department?
I do not, thank you.
And Judge Ridenauer, do you have any questions for the department?
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay, nor do I, so I'm going to turn it back to you, Mr. Goldstein, for a final statement.
Yes, I can close it out before noon in the 5 minutes. The undisputed, unrebutted evidence of Mr. Cherewick today was not challenged by any questions. Mr. Cherewick thoroughly explained the import of each of the documents that were just referenced. There was a statement there was no evidence that Mr. Cherewick had to obtain direction from Mr. Jenkins. That statement is absolutely false. We've heard an hour's worth of testimony from Mr. Cherewick on how that works. The department didn't bring Mr. Jenkins in here today. All we have are some hearsay calls with the department, which Mr. Cherewick has testified are absolutely false. And there's been a misunderstanding of Mr. Cherewick's testimony. Lakewood Construction was not the managing member of Global Entry Doors. Mr. Cherewick is the manager of Lakewood Construction, who was a member of Global Entry Doors. But in any event, just being a member does not ipso facto render someone a responsible party. The reference to the July 18th Secretary of State filing was already been scuttled by Mr. Cherewick. That was a fraudulent document entered without his knowledge and consent. It doesn't mean anything. And the point was, when after Mr. Jenkins lied to Mr. Cherewick relied, trusted him, was his friend, did not remove him from the company, Mr. Cherewick saw what the company was under the direction and tried to help and do the right thing. That doesn't create a responsible party. That was someone trying to assist Mr. Jenkins with doing the right thing. Mr. Cherewick should be congratulated for doing that, not imposed on personal liability that is rightfully imposed upon Mr. Jenkins. And going to the Code of Regulations 1702.5, a responsible person who was, we dispute Mr. Cherewick was a responsible person for all of the points stated, and every email's been explained, the signature on the lease, not on the guarantee, etc., has been thoroughly explained. But it says, a responsible person who was required to obtain approval from another person prior to paying the tax at issue and was unable to act on his or her own in making the decision to pay the taxes does not have the authority to pay the taxes or cause them to be paid, which is one of the items of willfulness. Mr. Cherewick did not do anything willfully, in conscious disregard, or any of that. Mr. Jenkins ran the company, the day-to-day operations. When Mr. Jenkins did not come through with Mr. Cherewick and he saw the train wreck that Mr. Jenkins had done, Mr. Cherewick came in to try and do the right thing. You get bad business partners, you try and fix the problem so you don't have to come to the courts or to, a panel like this. I'm the only one who likes being here because it's my job. Mr. Cherewick doesn't want to be here. But the point is, they have not established through evidence these factors as to Mr. Cherewick. The evidence today was not questioned. There was not a single question asked of Mr. Cherewick. Mr. Jenkins is not here. Everything was explained. And we appreciate you taking that into consideration. And we respectfully request that you find that Mr. Cherewick was not a responsible party and definitely did not willfully do anything as under the statute or the code. Appreciate all of your time and made it under,
Thank you. Hearing Officer Wilson, do you have any final questions?
No final questions, thank you.
Judge Ridenhour, do you have any final questions?
No final questions, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to, today's hearing in the appeal of Cherewick is concluded, and we are going off the record. Thank you, everyone, for coming and participating today. The panel will meet and deliberate and decide this appeal, and we will issue a written opinion within 100 days. The Office of Tax Appeals is in recess, and the next appeal will begin at 1 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.